Detroit, Dwane Casey could have taken a year off from coaching, collected $6.5 million from the Toronto Raptors and waited for a more attractive opportunity next summer. Instead, he joined a team with little roster flexibility due to the salary cap and no first-round pick, one that has reached the playoffs just once in 9 years, hasn't won a postseason game since 2008 and played before a half-empty new arena on many nights. The Detroit Pistons' new head coach wasn't deterred by a challenge. "I understand the toughness of the job," Casey said. Owner Gores didn't sugarcoat it. He let us know where it was, what he expected, where the journey's going to go. He didn't have to sell me from that standpoint. The history of the Detroit Pistons basketball organization and Tom's vision for it is what sold me. The Pistons formally introduced Casey Wednesday at Little Caesars Arena, 9 days after signing him to a 5-year, $35 million contract and more than 6 weeks after parting ways with Stan Van Gundy. Gores said he consulted with players during the search to ask what kind of coach they wanted. He said Casey checked every single box. He was attracted by Casey's track record, which includes 3 consecutive seasons of 50-plus wins with the Raptors and the Coach of the Year award from his peers this season. He was sold by his demeanor, his drive and his character. "The thing that really drew me is, he's hungry," Gores said. Casey, 61, went 320 to 238.573 in 7 seasons with Toronto but was fired after his teams were eliminated by LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs in each of the past 3 seasons. Pistons interviewed several candidates, including Michigan coach John Beilein, who eventually withdrew from consideration. Gores and senior advisor Ed Stefanski opted for the experienced Casey over San Antonio Spurs assistant Ime Udoka, who has never been a head coach at any level. Stefanski was sold on Casey after a 5-hour interview in Detroit and 6-hour interview with Gores in Los Angeles. "He competed for this job. That's what I love about this guy," said Stefanski, who worked with Casey in Toronto. "There's a lot of great coaches out there, but they might not want to go through the same thing he just went through. He's a grinder, he's got the X's and O's, he's got the relationships." Gores also cited many little things, including Casey's communication skills with players. "He's a great listener," Gores said. "Our players need listeners these days, and then you can give feedback. The thing about Dwane, he's ready to speak to the players and really listen. I think it was hard for Van Gundy to deal with the front office side and the court side. I believe in Dwane. I'm hopeful, but we have to win." Casey said a roster built around big men Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin and point guard Reggie Jackson, a trio that played together for only 4 games last season due to injuries, is ready to win now. "The most important thing is the talent level that you have with Blake, Andre and Reggie to start with," Casey said. "And then the next level of guys, you're talking about Luke Kennard, you're talking about Stanley Johnson, who I've always admired from afar, and also Henry Allenson. 3 very young, very talented players. And I'd put Andre in that group as being young. He's 24 years old, just an untapped wealth of talent. That's going to be on myself and the coaching staff to really draw out as much as we can. The talent level on the roster is there. Getting it together and identifying how we're going to play is very important. That's the fun part of it. Building and maintaining relationships with players is vital," Casey said. "As a coach, you hope you can be an example by being consistent, by being a hard worker and being a leader," Casey said. "That's a big part of what we do, getting players to understand you're doing what's best for them. And when they do what's best for themselves, it's going to be the best for all of us. Creating that bond between each other is huge. In being a leader, days of holding a hammer over a player's head, those days are done, because today's players are so smart, they want to know why. I think that's one area me and my staff will explain why we are doing this, to get the buy-in. Because if you don't have the buy-in, you're wasting time. That's our method of doing things."